Well, a lot of people haven't heard of Bonny Doon. So you know how I would describe Bonny Doon? I would describe Bonny Doon as sort of a place up in the hills. Up in the hills, somewhat, it's sort of northwest of Santa Cruz, and it's down the hill a ways from Davenport. But beyond that, nobody knows exactly where it is. And I assume property lines, now it probably doesn't fit on anybody's property lines. And nobody can exactly agree on where it starts or where it stops, and where on Empire Grade it begins and ends. And so it's a community of, I don't know how many. I remember at one point I'm talking about 1,500 to 2,000 homes, and that would depend on how many Highlanders and or Battle Mountain News go out every month. I suspect there's more Democrats, or probably a heck of a lot of declined estates, and 1 or 2 Republicans. But so yeah, it's a state, it's a community. That's what it is. Bonny Doon is a community of people who focus a lot on the way they live and where they live. And the where they live up here, of course, are amidst, as Franz Landing will point out, amidst palm trees growing next to redwood trees, which is craziness, but it does happen here in Bonny Doon. The best adjective to describe Bonny Doon I used it already, community. And I would use that as an adjective in this case. It's community-minded bunch of people who really enjoy sharing something that's beyond their own small way of life, their own inner focused thing. The people who care about the people next door, who worry about when there's a fire, when there's a fire up here, how are my neighbors doing? When there's a water problem, how are my neighbors? And when the cement dust and the mercury and all that stuff start blowing over the community, do we care? Yep, we care. And you can see that in the care and then in the concerns over fire department issues in Bonny Doon, and over the growth of Bonny Doon, with UCSC threatening one more time with doubling the size of their campus and totally infringing on a lot of Bonny Doon territory and changing the way of life. So yeah, community-minded is the way. I got to tell a story. I thought of one of my favorite Bonny Doon stories. I was working East Side Hardware at $1.70 an hour, and I had just left KGO, where I was running KGO, and I had my own office as program director, and before that KCBS. So I worked at East Side Hardware, $1.75 an hour. I met a lot of people there. I met Wally Trabing there. I met John Tuck and Paul Dragamon and a whole bunch of people. But one of the guys I met, and Alan Chadwick would come in all the time, and with a lot of his students, and they were doing the plumbing, and I would show them, because I know a lot about hardware, and I would show them how to do all these little fancy things. So I got to know this tall, lanky Britisher, but one of the most interesting Bonny Doon guys I met was Robert Heinlein. And we got talking, and one day I talked to him several times. He was doing work on his place up here in Bonny Doon. And so one day he told me what his name was. And and I had read a few of his books, and I was half impressed. But what we were equally impressed with was I had a trio, and we wrote a song called Oakland, and one of the lines in the Oakland song, "Don't forget the tube to Alameda," and Heinlein knew that song because he was stationed in Alameda in the Coast Guard. So Heinlein and we would talk a lot. Hey, how's Alameda? And he'd say, hey, all those Davenport, and it was all that stuff. He invited me up to his house. And then theoretically I could see his typewriter, which we all know is a very famous typewriter, the way it looked. Of course I never went, never bothered, because I would do it next time I'd see him, and the next time I'd see him. And then of course after about a year working East Side Hardware, I moved on, started my own hardware store after that. But another Bonny Doon story I like too is when I was the president, or during that time, I'm not sure relative the years, but while I was really active with the Bonny Doon RBDA, a guy who owned a grocery store down on Ocean Street, wanted to turn that property at the corner of Ice Cream Grade and Empire Grade into a general store up here. And he met with us several times, the general board, and opened it several times to questions. What would you like up here? What wouldn't you like? And he had it all figured out as to how there'd be like only 2 trucks a day, one coming up in the morning and the other one coming back down at nighttime. And you bring anything you want. You want green candles for a wedding? Hey, if we don't have them in the morning, you'll have them that night. It'll save 1 million gallons of gas. Just come to the corner store, and he would turn it in and open a post office. box there for us. We'd have our own post office here, all of that, and he would maintain it all. No, and I thought it was a good idea. I thought it'd be really nice to be able to drive a mile or two and get anything you needed, all your food stuffs, everything else, and make it, ecologically sound, all that. No, the board voted no. And we voted no, and another, while I was up here fighting CEMEX, no, Lone Star, no, Lone Star, I guess, well, RMC, it was between the Lone Star and then RMC, and then...
It's called RMC Lone Star, but that's...
one bought out the other. Mm-hmm. They wanted to burn rubber tires as a fuel. Mm-hmm. And I remember Marilyn Hummel and a whole bunch of us went on, we had a nice tour. The only time I'd ever actually toured the cement plant. Took us all the way up the big stairway, all the way up to the top, and got to look out all over everywhere, the Pacific Ocean, everywhere. And they were showing us where all the afterburners would go, so that these rubber tires would, instead of going to landfills and being cut up into foolish little things like sandal shoes and things around the ends of docks, they said, we'll burn them, and it'll be chemically pure. And we're not going to, no. So, it's just been a series of, no, you can't do that up here. No, we don't want any buses up here either. The metro was expanding in Santa Cruz. They said, okay, we're going to run a bus, and then, you guys won't have to keep driving. No, we don't want any buses up here. No way. And, other things like that. But it's just part of RBDA is the no factor,
It makes it so popular with some people.
Yeah, it really does. And you got a lot of people to this day are producing their own steam just because of the, no, we don't want that. Like, no.